Hi everyone, today is a bit of a different video. Behind me or next to me is a beautiful Korg Karma, and this is a really special kind of synth that was far ahead of its time and wasn't that much popular. Nobody really got it, didn't sound that great, and it just like faded into oblivion almost. But it's a really special kind of thing, and I've had a love-hate relationship with it for a long time, and I almost decided now to sell it. But before I decide on selling it, one of the main reasons why I got in it in the first place was its karma capability, the super awesome algorithmic sequencing and arranging and everything that it does. It's just unlike anything else, and that's actually the brains of it. Why I would even consider selling it? Well, the sad truth is that it's super complicated and really hard to get into. But that's not a big problem. Biggest problem for me is that it doesn't sound good. It's a Rompler, and it has a Rompler from early 2000 or 2001. You can't mask the fact that it's a almost 20-year-old Rompler. It sounds like that. Now, before I come to a final decision whether or not I'm gonna sell it, I want to try and see if it's possible to integrate it into my studio in a really interesting way. Because if I manage to do that, then not only does it stay, but it actually opens up a hell of a lot of composing and musical abilities and capabilities. Because the ultimate idea is that I use my DAW to control Karma and then send the data generated by Karma itself or its brain and spread it to different machines. How is that possible? Well, this is a workstation, so it's 16 multi-timbral. So it can transmit 16 MIDI channels simultaneously, which means in theory I should be able to send it MIDI signals, and it should be able to send out its Karma gloriousness and ingeniousness on 16 different MIDI channels, which means to 16 different synths. So then you get the best of both worlds. You get the brain of a Karma and you get an awesome sound of different synths, and that's what I want to make happen. So let's see, how do we go about that? Alright, so I made a little PDF to kind of sketch out the idea of what I want to make happen. So here's here's my powerful PC with my Ableton Live on it. Here's the Karma, or the interpretation of a Karma, and here's various bits and pieces of gear, hardware and software that I wanted to communicate with. All in total, I picked 16 of my favorite pieces of gear. So the idea is this: I want to write a MIDI sequence in Ableton Live and then be able to send that to Karma, right? Then Karma gets that as if I was playing it on its keyboard. But then, because I want to ignore all of its dated sounds, then I want to transmit that back to the gear. But instead of actually having, it would be really impractical because you would have to daisy chain through. So it would have to go MIDI out from Karma to one of the hardwares, then MIDI through, MIDI through, MIDI through, MIDI through, and then you just end up with a spaghetti of MIDI, which really doesn't work. But instead, I have my whole studio set up in a really good way so that all of the hardware and software gear communicates directly through my DAW, of course. So what I want to do is actually I want to return the signal from Karma, but this time all 16 MIDIs. So I want to return MIDI in one go on all 16 channels from Karma instantly. So I send the note info to Karma, it returns Karma Magic or GE Magic on 16 channels. And then from my DAW, I simply route where I want each of the 16 channels of Karma to go. So maybe channel 1 goes to Virus, channel 2 to Pro Mars, or that would be System 100, Pro Mars, TS10, V-Synth, my base station, Supernova, Q, System 8, Behringer, Emu, JD, Pulse, Volca, Z1, well, that's TS10 and this is the Yamaha. So, but basically, that's the idea. So, send a note to Karma, receive back GE goodness distributed on 16 channels, and then just distribute that how you see fit, all in real time. I'm hoping that my new DAW computer is able to handle all of this, and that my MIDI interfaces are good enough, because it should work. There's no reason why this spaghetti shouldn't work, right? What could go wrong? But I tell you this, if this works, I'm keeping the Karma. If it doesn't, then I'm selling it, because this is the only scenario why I would actually need it and use it, because if this works, then it's like, wow, cool. Alright, so let's try and set that up. So, what do you say? Do we sell Karma or not? Or do we try this thing? We do it? Okay, I guess we're doing it then. Alright, so first things first, before I even begin setting up my DAW, I have to actually set up a test patch, or choose a test patch and set it up so it transmits MIDI per part. Now I've chosen this guy, Galactic Bells Plus Y. It's a really nice patch, and more importantly, it's a really nice GE, which has these really nice shimmering glissandos for the bells, and it has 2 bells, 2 pads, things like that. So the way this is done is, because Karma's all funky, it's a beautiful, beautiful design, but horrible, horrible interface. So you press menu, it took me a while to figure this out, and then you actually go to what they call T1, which is the third column, option 1, program PRM 1, and then you go F8, which is function 8, to open. And here I can see all of my parts, and this one is using only 4, so we're going to test with 4. And what you can see here is that it says int, which is internal, G channel or global channel. So at the moment it is set that all channels 1 to 4 are transmitting internally, and they're transmitting on global channel, MIDI channel 2, MIDI channel 3. 5 to 8 are turned off. So what I want to do is make sure that all of them are set to external. So let's go and set it to external. There we go. Now as soon as you set to external or EX2, the patch itself won't trigger sounds on Karma. So you can't have this setup and the Karma having its sounds. So it's either or. You can't have it both, but that's fine with me. So let's keep it like, yeah, 2 and 3, that's fine. And I'm just gonna switch this guy to global channel 1, and these two are doing the same thing, so actually I'm just gonna transmit these 3 just for simplicity's sake. Alright, so now that that's set up, I can hit exit, and that's good. Okay, so now we can go into Ableton Live and set stuff up there and then test. Okay. Alright, I'm in Ableton Live now, opened up my standard setup, and yeah, this is what I'm gonna be setting up now. So I need my Karma channel, so that's gonna be just a default MIDI channel, and I have a simple one note that's going for 32 bars in length. Now, what I have to set up is that I want to get MIDI from my System 8, which is the controller keyboard that I use. And it's going to transmit it on channel 1 because that's what Karma's global channel is set for. So whatever is on this channel, on channel 1, or on this MIDI, Karma receives. So that's this part of the equation, sending nodes to Karma. In order to make that happen, I have to send my MIDI to Karma, and it's on my Microlight port 3, and it's going to be sent on channel 1 as well. Now I've checked this and that works. Now for the returning back, that happens automatically because I've set up that my DAW receives on the same channel MIDI from Karma. But the thing is, now I need to do this spreading, right? So in theory, I should be able to just drop it into these couple of synths, whichever I choose. So I've chosen a few, and it works. It works really cool. I mean, check this out. So, okay, so for VSynth, I'm gonna use my Microlight. That's this is the MIDI that I am receiving from Karma into my DAW. And here I'm gonna choose channel 1. So let's now press play and see what happens. Nothing happens, and nothing happens because I am in automatic mode. So I have to switch to in so that I'm actively monitoring the input of my MIDI. So now when I press play, there we go. I'm receiving the first signs of life from Karma. So far, nothing impressive because it's one note here. Really? Okay. Well, let's spice it up a little with some effects. Okay. Now for the fun part. Now for my DeepMind. I'm gonna again choose Microlight port 3, but this time I'm gonna choose channel 2 and switch to in. One note. I'm still transmitting that one note from my DAW, and all of this is coming back from Karma. So that's channel 2. So now let's go over to my Yamaha EX5. And for it, I'm also choosing the Karma channel, but this time I'm gonna use channel 3. And let's see how does that work. There we go. Pan them a little left and right. And let's add a little bit of bass from my Waldorf Pulse. Let's give it channel 1. There we go. And we mustn't forget the Q. So let's find, where's the Q? Q. There we go. Let's give it port. And let's choose channel 2 for it. Now the key thing is that I can play around with real-time control on Karma, which affects how the MIDI notes are generated and the swing and the rhythm of it, and basically that's the whole point of Korg Karma, is the manipulation of the GEs that it has. Except that now I can bypass one of its biggest flaws, which was its sound, and just use it to powerball these beautiful puppies. And I'm really, really impressed. This is really cool. So now I'm gonna set up the camera somewhere so that I can actually just tweak all this and record this in high quality so that you can actually hear the whole sound, and I'm just gonna have some fun. So yeah, enjoy. it's a keeper, definitely.